Hey folks, today I want to spend a little time looking at the brand new ValentineOne Gen2 Radar Detector. It finally came out. Everybody recognizes this guy. This is the original bad boy, the ValentineOne, and it's been around for many years, and it's gone through some iterations, some firmware updates. It's been improved. Lots of accessories have been created around it to make it even better, and all of that has kept it even relevant by today's standards. Now, the new one, who knows? It's brand new as of right now. I haven't even plugged it into the car yet. So we are going to check that out. We're going to do a little bit of unboxing. I want to see if there's any differences between the two and answer a couple of questions. If you're new to radar detectors, is this the way to go? If you have a ValentineOne, should you upgrade? And we're going to look closely at all that right now. Okay, so we do have a brand new ValentineOne Gen2 right here, ready for unboxing. So let's check it out and see what's inside. Same familiar box as the V1, and right when you open it up, you can see here it comes with a quick start guide, which is looks like it's pretty thorough. Looks like it covers a lot of stuff, and I don't know if you guys remember the V1 came with a pretty thick guide. This seems much more digestible, especially if this is your first time buying a radar detector, so that's good. Set that aside. Next, we got a clip for your visor. Personally, I don't like it to be up that high, but for some folks, that is the only way to go, so it's nice that they throw that in. Although I wish it was a option, because I think you're kind of paying for this at some way built into the price of the device itself. I wish they would just make this optional. You get the curly cable. This is the power cord. This is for use with the cigarette lighter adapter. These two are great, especially if you've got multiple cars and you want to be able to take it from one car to the next. This is the way to go. Alternatively, if you just want to hardwire it, it's nice that they offer the hardwired kit itself with the straight power cord, because this needs to be long and it's going to get crammed behind panels and all kinds of things going through your dash or whatever in order to make it fit through your particular situation. And what else is kind of cool is they give you some extra suction mounts. These do wear out from time to time, or they give you bigger ones too in case it calls for it. So that's cool to throw those in. Last but not least, here you go. ValentineOne Gen2. Looks similar to a V1, but as you can see, it does have some differences, mainly this front face, and you'll notice the knob is now gone, as opposed to the V1 that we all know and love. But we'll talk more a little bit about what the differences between these two are. One thing I do want to give props to Valentine Research for is the fact that they kept the power and data port the same as the V1. So basically, whether you use your old V1's power cord or you just happen to buy one and you want to upgrade to your V2, well, you can, and it's not a different power cord. Unlike an Apple product, where every couple of years they change it and make you spend money on all the accessories all over again. So one of the things that makes this such a great piece of kit is really the fact that it gives you a lot of information, but all radar detectors do that. It's really just that this one presents it in a fashion that's easily digestible when you're behind the wheel. I think that's what's key here. Now, I don't have this one plugged in at the moment, but I think this card does a really good job of showing you exactly why the information is easy to digest and easy to see. Imagine you're driving on the road and there is a bogey behind you. Well, what happens is these arrows line up and light up to show you where the threat is coming from which direction, whether it's in front, behind, or you just passed it. Also, it shows you the level of strength and certainty, so that way you can be more confident in the level of threat. And of course, you get the band of which it recognizes and the number of bogeys itself. All of that information is digested simply just by a glance and an audible language, if you will, that you will fully understand and adapt to pretty quickly when you live with this. So that's pretty neat. I think that they've done a great job of being able to create something that delivers so consistently that it becomes a valuable tool to have while driving. Now let's take a quick look at startup, meaning when we put these things side by side, which one actually starts up quicker and looks more responsive right from power on. So we've got both of these ValentineOne detectors, both in logic mode. And what that basically means, there's three main modes. There's A for all bogeys, which means it will show you information about all the threats it sees. And in that particular mode, it's at its most sensitive, and it's going to give you the most information possible, which for many people is overkill. So I personally don't recommend that mode. There are two other modes which are very popular. One is logic mode, and then there's advanced logic mode. The difference between these two modes is simply this. In logic mode, it will show you pretty much all the threats, but the ones that are considered to be not as important, what it'll do then is it will mute those in the background. It might pop up on the screen visually, but it won't actually be loud like it normally would. And advanced means it just won't even show you those threats at all that don't matter. So for me personally, I run it in regular logic mode because the whole point of a ValentineOne is really to create awareness, to be in the know. And I think for most people, that means that, yeah, you got to get used to hearing beeps and seeing things visually and understanding it. It's a protocol. It becomes a language, if you will. As a driver who's owned one of these things for many, many years, you become one with the ValentineOne. And I don't know if that's on purpose, but anyway, what I mean by that is you can be driving and you can just hear your ValentineOne speaking to you, but it's in the background. You're not totally paying attention to it. You just understand each other. For me, my ValentineOne, just like you're seeing here, doesn't really speak up unless there's a real threat somewhere, and then I pay attention. I'm like, okay, definitely that's a cop up ahead somewhere, and I need to pay attention to that. There are apps out there as well that do a really good job crowdsourcing information to give you as a commuter or enthusiast or whatever, the driver behind the car, the most possible latest information so you can make informed decisions on how fast you should be going and how you should be driving. Waze is a popular one, by the way. When you pair that with something like a ValentineOne, I think you get a really, really powerful solution. Now, so far, both of these have been really quiet, but that doesn't mean they're not doing it. They're absolutely working. They're both scanning like crazy to try and find any threats that might exist. The problem is you're not really going to get, police officers on the side of the road holding their gun out, waiting to catch a speeding every day. I mean, in reality, thank God that that's not the case. But, like when it happens, you just want to be prepared. So we'll see what we catch, I think, today. But my gut feeling tells me is we're really not going to get it. Not going to get much. But we'll see. The great thing about Valentine Research is their story. And if you guys get an opportunity to read about it, go check it out. It's really, really interesting stuff. Talks about how Mike Valentine and Jim Yeager got together to start a company, their first try at creating successful radar detector company that didn't really work that well. They had a lot of initial success, but it wasn't meant to be. They had a difference of opinion, much like a rock band. They broke up. But it's a really fascinating story, and it put Mike Valentine on the path to creating his own organization, which now is known as Valentine Research. And, you know, Mike has stayed very true to his philosophy, which is, you know, make a product that just works. It shouldn't be about being on the offensive. It really should be about defense. And that showcased in the fact that everything about the ValentineOne, and I don't care which one we're talking about, this is true of all of them, it's really about creating awareness. It's really about showing you the data and letting you, the driver, make the call on how you want to digest that information and what decisions will you make from that information. I know other tools out there will allow you to do stuff like radar jamming and stuff like that, and that's definitely not what Mike wanted. The other thing too is, if you notice, ValentineOne, if you haven't heard of them before, I'm not surprised. They don't really spend any money on marketing. I mean, if you know anything about them at all, it's really because of word of mouth, and or you have a friend who owns one. And so they might recommend it to you. But in general, that's been a strong strategy for their organization, and really given them a lot of credibility over the years as a company that's engineering focused first and not sales focused as a priority first. They know that sales will come if the product is done right. So that is exactly the thinking. And it's taken many years of revisions on the original Valentine, which is still a great device today, to reach us to the point where we have a second generation tool. And I'm looking forward to having a more powerful version now, and just to live with on the daily and experience the benefits. So as I experience that, guys, I will update you in a future video to let you guys know how I'm getting on with it. And hopefully I got some good stories. All that being said, guys, that's all the time we have. Thanks for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. As always, put your comments down below. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to get those answers to you as soon as possible. And as always, stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.